everybody, we're backstage at Lollapalooza 2017. Maggie, you just got off stage.
I did.
How did it go?
It was amazing. This was my first time on the main stage, and I can't even really believe that when it's coming out of my mouth, but I had an amazing set.
So, what is the best way for you to get ready for a performance?
Glitter.
Glitter.
That's decisive.
Yeah, like Frank Ocean, like glitter, rain,
Glitter.
glitter. How did you get ready today?
Glitter.
Just glitter, glitter,
I
glitter.
do. Actually, a recent thing is I do some jumping jacks because I feel like I move around so much during my set that it usually goes a little bit better if my heart rate is already up. So.
Mm-hmm. Do you do the jumping jacks once the fringe is on?
Oh, it's definitely it's a full thing.
I want that outfit. That's wavy. Now, do you have any extra pre-show superstitions?
Oh, no, I don't. I think if you just trust and think it's going to go well, it probably will.
Heck yeah. Make your own luck, right?
Yeah.
What does it feel like for you when you first walk out on stage and the fans see that you're out there and they go crazy?
Kind of feels like I got electrocuted, but in the best way. I've never been
Yeah.
personally electrocuted before, which I think is a good thing, but the adrenaline is just, oftentimes I know it's really cool to just walk up to the mic super strong and go for it, but sometimes I just start jumping up and down because I just don't know what to do with my body, but I'm figuring it out, but it feels great.
That's what the jumping jacks are for. They're
Exactly.
elation
They're
preparation.
yeah.
So if one of your fans, one of your bazillion fans that are out there in the audience going totally bananas for you, if they were going to spend a day in your shoes, what would they need to get ready for? What's a day in your life look like?
Oh. My life looks pretty different every day. But today, it kind of feels like I'm at a cocktail party for a really long time, which can be both exciting and a little overwhelming. It's been a really big year for me in general, so
Yeah.
I feel good, but I definitely feel overwhelmed sometimes. But I'm learning a lot, so I'm just trying to stay on top of it.
Yeah, if you're not overwhelmed, you're just whelmed.
Sure, and that's just not as fun.
I'm not even sure it's a word. So you were on stage today, and we were all watching from back here, and it was just absolutely incredible. And you said the most wonderful thing, which is you looked at your audience, you stopped them, and you were like, guys, thank you. And you said, my story is about sharing my story.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I think most people have heard of me through this viral video that was taken when I was in school. But, that video came out in March and then went viral in May. So it was released and had some little reaction and then nothing happened. And that very much could have been the end of things. But I love making music more than anything else in the entire world. And all of these people around the world have allowed me to do that by saying, hey, I like this, I want to show you this, or telling their friends, or just supporting me in the wild and open way that people have. So I just feel really grateful. I think it's important to say that. And playing shows for me is so important because I get to meet the people that gave me all of this in person. So
I was just with Tegan and Sarah the other day, and they've been doing this band for 20
they're
years.
so cool.
And I'm like, what does it mean? How do you make it feel intimate? And they were like, we make eye contact.
I make a lot of eye contact.
I saw that. We could
Yeah.
see that on the monitor, that you're looking at your fans.
Yeah,
and they're
I
looking
had
back
this crazy
at you.
experience once in 2012 when I saw St. Vincent, and I was singing all the words, and she made eye contact with me for the entire song of Cheerleader, and the entire song.
Wow.
And I she could have told me to jump off a cliff, and I maybe would have done it. It was completely hypnotizing, but it was so intimate and effective, and I never forgot it. And I want to be able to greet my audience in that way personally.
I talk to a lot of people, I feel like, about intimacy with this, too. Artist, journalist intimacy.
Definitely.
There's a lack of intimacy in a lot of music journalism that makes it so artists and
I agree.
journalists feel weird talking to each other, too.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the times fans might not even realize that. How do you work on keeping yourself open in an industry that can kind of, especially for women, feel more closed off?
I guess I just try and assume it was definitely really hard at the beginning because, my story with the viral video and all this stuff is so unique and crazy. It is nuts that this happened in this way. It is so crazy that there were so many people who wanted it to not be real or wanted me to say something weird about Pharrell in the beginning, so I felt very on the offensive almost, or the defensive. I'm not good at sports. I'm good at music. But I now feel like I've settled in a little bit, and I just try and assume the best of everybody. And I know that sounds like a little naive and simple also, but like everyone's just trying to do their job. So even if they ask you a hard question, it's not personal.
Right, exactly. And I feel like you have to be at a certain place emotionally and intellectually to say that you're willing to see the best in people.
And I think you also have to be able to say no. Like if somebody asks you something that you don't want to answer, I think it's totally fine to be like, I get why you asked that, but I just don't feel comfortable. And that's okay. I think it's really important to always be comfortable. Like when I'm being photographed, sometimes I'll get the look over your shoulder coyly, and I always say no.
Yeah, ready?
I really
no.
I really like looking my audience directly in the eyes, and that's just like what my music does.
Yeah, having healthy boundaries.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And knowing what you're comfortable with.
And that's going to bounce back on you in the studio too.
Yeah.
You've been establishing your boundaries for a long time. I mean, I loved how you just said, like, all these people all over the world, they make it so I can do this. But, like, even if it weren't for the people all over the world, you've been making music your whole life.
Yeah.
You're a polymath.
Yeah. I started writing music when I was about 12 and started producing my own music when I was 15. And then I went to school to study engineering production in the music industry. And so I've always just wanted to do this one thing, and I've been working my entire life at making myself as educated and capable and skilled at that one thing as possible. And so, yeah, I write my music, I produce my music, I write treatments for music videos, I design outfits for stage. Music is so fun because it's like writing a 3D paper. Like there's never a way, it never ceases to be creative or for there to be a new way to be creative. And so I'm just always engaged and excited by it.
Yeah, in a world that's so limitless and so bottomless, why continue doing things exactly the same way that everybody's always done them?
That's the thing about music is that, when I finished college, there was all this stuff happening and with labels and all this, crazy, wild stuff. But the music industry inevitably, as sexist, and there's a rap for everything, and I'm sure all the reputations exist for a reason, but it's also a place where a 23-year-old female can walk into a boardroom full of older men and be the one in charge. Mm-hmm. And that I found and still find incredibly empowering.
Mm-hmm. And there is a huge and very empowering conversation going on in music journalism, music media today about the lack of young women and girls in production and engineering.
I think just diversity in general, but definitely like less women in production. But I think it's just about empowering people to do it, because I think the most amazing thing about the technology that we have right now to make music is that, programs like Pro Tools or Logic or Ableton have really democratized music so that anybody in their bedroom can do it. You just have to know that you can be good at it. It's just like anything else. You just have to put the hours in.
Mm-hmm. And for young women and girls, oftentimes you have to be willing to block out a lot of the weirdos who think that, a woman's place is behind the vocal take booth or
I definitely get that sometimes, but I'm very clear very quickly. But information is the best weapon.
Mm-hmm. And that was my next question is, what is your best advice for other young girls who really want to be engineers or producers?
Educate yourself. I mean, that's the biggest thing I can say. I know that like all of the softwares I mentioned, they look intimidating or sometimes they're expensive, but you can find like student versions of all of those programs, and all of them come with user manuals. And so they look intimidating at first, but if you just take it step by step, and if you have any problems, you can YouTube any troubleshoot problem. I just think it's about just trying and not being afraid to just jump in.
Yeah, you'll be really nervous at first, and then 5 hours later, you'll be looking at videos of people building monomes, and you'll be like, I want to do this forever.
Yeah, and you don't have to use everything right away. Even just recording a vocal is hard, and then, maybe you'll learn how to use a compressor, in 3 weeks or never, or you'll just, get bored of the sound you have, and you'll say, what tools do I have to make different sounds?
Yeah, or if that sucks, you go to the Salvation Army, you get a Fisher-Price keyboard, you circuit bend it, and then you figure out what weird band you want to be in.
And you're like, oh, I like that. Yeah, and then you're the Moldy Peaches.
Precisely. Who were your big inspirations growing up besides Kimya Dawson?
Yeah, I love
who's
Kimya.
incredible,
She's amazing.
the greatest.
Growing up, I loved. My mom used to play me a lot of like Erykah Badu and Lauryn Hill
Yes.
and Outkast and the Cranberries. But I listened to a lot of folk music.
You were also a harpist, I know, for a while.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
I was. I really love Sufjan Stevens and Bon Iver. I grew up in high school sort of with like a lot of folk music around me.
So what can we expect from you next? There's been
su-
folk albums, there's been electronic music, there's been harp, there's been
I don't
production, there's
know.
been everything. What's next?
You can consistently expect that I'm going to make exactly what I want to make.
Hell yes.
And I don't know what that is yet. I've been on the road for the last 9 months, and at the end of August, I get to go home.
Home, it's lit.
I love home. I love the road too, but home is a very special place where I can think creatively. So I'm excited to find out what my brain sounds like right now.
That rules. All we ever talk about when it comes to music stuff is like, what's tour like? What's music like? What's home like? What's the first thing you're going to do? What's the first thing you're going to eat?
I'm going to just go for a walk with my dog. We shot the video for Alaska at my parents' house in Maryland. And I've actually sort of decided to move from New York home just to take a second. I was always looking forward to graduating from college and going home for a minute. So I'm ready to like regroup a little bit and check in with myself creatively and then dive in.
Let your mom make you breakfast a couple days in
I'm
a
like
row.
really ready for mom breakfast. I mean, that's what I'm really
I was
saying.
going to say, your mom is here, right?
Yeah,
you
both
like
of
your
my
parents a lot.
parents.
You're very close
I
to
love my parents. They were both here earlier, and my dad cried a lot, and it was great.
If I was your dad, I'd cry too. They should be extremely
Oh,
proud.
Meredith.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.